o'clock. I see the clouds moving in. The weatherman says that it'll probably rain today. Says we're going to get an inch. I don't ever see the weatherman telling us how much rain. Just 80%, 20%, whatever.
Yeah.
Today they say we're going to get an inch. So we'll
That's right.
have to get your little weather gauge thing out there. Later on today, we have some folks from Webster University, College of Central Florida. We have some college folks coming in at 10:35.
St. Leo.
So it works perfectly because right now we have Steve Seifert on the phone. He's going to tell us how to get money so you can pay for that college.
Yeah.
Right? Steve Seifert is the Edwards Jones Principal with primary responsibility for managed investments, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, separated managed allocations, and 529 plans, not 529. 529. See how much I know about his subject? I was saying 529. Anyway, he's going to give us some information about the annual Edward Jones 529 Plan Awareness Survey, which is for college savings. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Where are you calling from?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. How's the weather out there today?
And it is raining here today.
I think we're getting your rain. I think it's one of these things across the country. You get it first, and then we get it.
We've been getting a lot of it.
Well, thank you for helping us with this. Yeah, one of the things that's going to happen later on this morning is we're going to hear about all the great programs that the local colleges offer. So you can't go without the money. So that's why your subject works so well with a later subject in the morning.
Sure, it is a significant expense for most families today. And you mentioned our survey. One of the things we found is that 9 out of 10 people believe that a college degree is important for future employment. So it's great you're doing that. Importantly, though, also, and really what's a big surprise is 3 out of 4 Americans don't know what a 529 plan is.
I'm one of them. I really don't know. I thought you had 529 plans when I first read it.
Yeah, a 529 plan is really the best way to save for a college education. It provides a convenient, tax-advantaged way to save, to accumulate dollars to help offset what can be a significant expense. And potentially, depending on what a family is able to save, potentially even able a student to graduate debt-free.
Oh, that's awesome. What does the number mean anything? The 529 number, does it mean anything?
It really doesn't. The 529 name it's really named after the IRS code that allows for them. The name doesn't really have all that much significance. What is significant, though, is the opportunity that the plan affords a family today, and really the impact that it can have in positioning a child for a more successful future.
So when babies are born and parents can open up a 529 plan right away, once they start putting money in there, they don't have to worry about claiming it on their taxes then, right? Because isn't there some kind of tax loophole with that?
Yeah, it's certainly not a loophole. That's one of the benefits of the 529 plan, Robin, is that once the dollars are invested, they're able to grow, to accumulate without incurring any taxes, and then importantly also, those dollars can be withdrawn without incurring any taxes, assuming that those dollars are withdrawn for a qualified education expense. So room, board, books, etc. And not even necessarily it doesn't have to be a 4-year school. It might be a trade school of some sort. So there's really a tremendous amount of flexibility available to somebody in enabling them to preserve that tax advantage benefit.
Is today considered Save for Education Day?
Well, we actually think about May 29th as Save for Education Day, 529.
Okay.
However, we celebrate both 529 Day and 529 Awareness Month. So really throughout the month of May, we really do what we can to increase awareness of 529 plans and the need that families have to save for education expenses.
Does the money that's put away into the plan become available for, I don't know, for boarding, I guess, if you need that, or dorm fees or whatever? If let's say you are a good student and you've got all kinds of scholarships and you don't need as much as you saved a lot of money, but you don't need all of it. You've done, you're getting all kinds of, which is I'm sure a lot of people this applies to.
Yeah, scholarships.
So can you use the money for something else?
Yeah, so the monies in a plan do have to be used for a qualified education expense. However, the one of the benefits of a 529 plan is that as the owner, whether it's the parent or a grandparent, as the owner, you retain control and can make changes to the beneficiary. So if one child, it appears that perhaps they're not going to need the full amount, another child or even a grandchild can be named as a beneficiary on those assets.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of flexibility there. Even in our own situation, our son, 21 and currently working toward his degree, but not needing all of the dollars that were set aside. So we actually were able to go in and change the beneficiary on what was a 529 plan for him to our daughter, who is heading down a path that's likely to be a more expensive path. So there's a real nice benefit there.
And I really like when you said that you could apply this to a trade school and not just to a university, because children have different talents.
That's correct. And a lot of folks will say, "Gosh, my child's 1 or 2 or 5, and I don't even know what kind of college they'll attend, or
really?
What if they don't even attend college?" And the thing about a 529 plan is you've got that flexibility irregardless of where the child may choose to go. And even if they choose not to go to college, that ability to name someone else as a beneficiary can be a real advantage. And if nobody ends up using the money for college and simply the dollars get withdrawn, the dollars get taxed, and there is a small penalty that would apply. But there's so much flexibility there and the ability to pass this literally potentially through a generation or two. Most families end up using these assets to cover the cost of a college education as they were designed for.
Sometimes people will move to the United States from different countries. They'll become American citizens, and then maybe another family member will come over here to continue on their college education, because there are a lot of people that are educated here and then go back to their own country. Can people like that open up a 529 plan too, even though they're not U.S. citizens?
Well, then there are some limitations based upon certain plans, but then also certain firms, like an Edward Jones that a client might be investing with, will have potential limitations around that. So in that instance, it's best to see a financial advisor, talk with somebody, whether it's somebody at Edward Jones or elsewhere, about that kind of specific situation. But that is certainly can be an advantage of the 529 plan. Something else you reminded me of there, Robin, is today with many people going to school later in life, almost as a second career, the 529 assets can be used there as well.
Oh.
So is that one of the things that the survey revealed, was from older folks who are wondering if it would apply to them?
Yeah, the survey didn't really reveal that, but it is one of those benefits that when somebody says, "But what if my kids don't go to school?
Okay.
What if we don't have a need for the money?" It's just one of the other options that are available to be able to take full advantage of those tax advantage dollars.
So before we run out of time, let's make sure we give the listeners a way to find out more. Would they just show up at your office, at an Edward Jones office, or is there a website you would go to?
Yeah, so there's a good general website called savingforcollege.com.
Okay.
Lots of just good general information to help a family with college savings. Also, edwardjones.com. We have information on our website that speaks to 529 college savings plans, but also can help point somebody to a financial advisor if they're not currently working with somebody. edwardjones.com, they can find an advisor in their neighborhood that it doesn't cost anything. Sit down and have a conversation with about what might be best for that individual and their family.
So we don't have to set up a 529 plan as soon as the child is born, since Larry had brought up that you can use these funds for later in life. You can start, like if you're 20 and decide to set one up for yourself.
you could certainly do that. Certainly, the earlier the better, right? Given the expense. So, regardless of the situation, it's never too late. But certainly the earlier you can start, the better. The more time that you can give those dollars to grow between when you start saving and when the dollars actually are going to be needed, the better.
Yeah, I can imagine the discipline is an important part of this. I can imagine the people who say, you know, I know it's a good idea, but I'm afraid, what if I lose my job in 3 years? Then what am I going to do? But I think the discipline would solve that problem, I think. Steve Seifert, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. Good information. The two websites we got from Steve, edwardjones.com and savingforcollege.com. Again, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, we will be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders going head-to-head in Oregon and Kentucky primaries
Despite
today.
the miserable weather here in Kentucky, we're seeing a pretty brisk turnout. This is a closed primary, so independents cannot show up and cast a vote for Senator Sanders. Secretary Clinton thus far has done well in closed primaries, and traditionally both Clintons have done well in Kentucky.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Louisville.
The comments from March, in which Secretary Clinton promised to put coal miners out of work, still haunt her but might not sting as badly as they did in West Virginia. The comments only hurt her in coal country.
There are 3 Zika funding bills before senators today, one of them a bipartisan plan to cut the president's request to $1.1 billion. And the World Health Organization says it's increasingly worried about the virus, which causes birth defects, though it doesn't recommend canceling or postponing the upcoming Rio Olympics. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Wildfires burn millions of acres each year. And each year, wildland firefighters like Fire Chief James Hall battle to contain them. But they can't do it alone.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. It can ignite and destroy your home, your community, or more. That single ember can be just as dangerous as the wildfire itself. But you can do something firefighters can't. You can act now to prepare your home and your community for wildfire. You can reduce the risk. Do your part. Go to fireadapted.org.
Get fire adapted. Learn what you can do now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Here for Dairy Queen to tell you about some new and tasty foods. 2 of the new items are the Royal Blizzards, packed with extra fruit or fudge, and the new bruschetta chicken, a hot-baked sandwich on focaccia artisan bread. I know I had one for lunch, and it was exceptional. Dairy Queen, Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
Hi, Matt Wilkerson here, your mobile Verizon rep. But not just here, I'll deliver the phone to you in your home. While I'm there, I'll only sell you what you need and I'll personalize it to you. Want to have me get you connected? Then call me at 352-528-0020. I even offer unlimited home phone service for just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon